So, y'all, we got another video. We got 2026 NFL free agency is going to get weird by Matthew Geese. What's up, bro?
NFL free agency is less than a month away, and there are some big-time free agents on the market that could swing a team's 2026 season. We just saw the New England Patriots add Milton Williams, Carlton Davis, and Stephon Diggs in free agency
Yeah, they
last year.
said that AJ Brown, like they said, they're gonna trade AJ Brown. Like there was some rumors for the Davis dude. They said who else was it? Keon Coleman. Who was somebody else too? I don't remember who it was. I think it was somebody. Like it was like another
They win the
receiver.
AFC. We just saw
I think Rashad Batman. He's on the Ravens, and there was somebody else too.
the Seattle Seahawks win the Super Bowl with Cooper Kupp and obviously Sam Darnold, and yeah, DeMarcus Lawrence as well. So I know free agency sometimes can be a period where just bad teams have a lot of money to spend. They just throw a bunch of money out there and they don't get a return on your investment. But you could definitely hit on a free agent or two, and that could add a couple wins to your total the next season. I believe free agency is going to get really weird and really interesting this year in the NFL landscape. We just saw the Seattle Seahawks, who built up the trenches in basically a year or so, win the Super Bowl with their pass rush and obviously just their elite defense as a whole. And there are some big time playmakers on the free agency market. So let's kind of look into this and see what's going to go down. And the most interesting free agent, in my opinion, this offseason is going to be George Pickens of the Dallas Cowboys, because George Pickens just had a true wide receiver one season for the Dallas Cowboys last year. CeeDee Lamb missed 3 games. Pickens was healthy throughout the whole 2025 season. He finished with 93 catches, 1,429 yards, and 9 touchdowns. He was a Pro Bowler. He was listed to the All-Pro second team, and he's just 24 years old. If he got fair market value, there is a chance that George Pickens could end up being paid as a top 5 receiver in the NFL. Jamar Chase is number 1 right now at $40 million. Then you have Jettas at $35 million. CeeDee Lamb, who Pickens just outperformed this year at $34 million. DK Metcalf, who replaced George Pickens in Pittsburgh, is making $33 million a year, and you could definitely make an argument, and honestly, you're not wrong if you said George Pickens deserves more money than CeeDee Lamb. So it looks like the Cowboys could definitely restructure some money this offseason and pay George Pickens a lot of money. His projected contract right now is at least $28 million on the tag, which would be a severe pay cut for George Pickens next year. Would be a nice discount for the Dallas Cowboys. Could we see a tag and trade if George Pickens says, you know what, I'm going to hold out, I'm not playing under the tag, and I want to make big time money? Because there are plenty of teams out there that would look to give George Pickens a lot of money in free agency. The Tennessee Titans are looking for a wide receiver 1 for Cam Ward. The Las Vegas Raiders are most likely going to draft Fernando Mendoza with the number 1 overall pick. Could they look to add George Pickens as well? The Washington Commanders desperately need maybe a big-time playmaker out wide for Jaden Daniels going forward. The San Francisco 49ers might need a wide receiver 1 this offseason as well. Brandon Ayuk is most likely going to be off this team. Ricky Pearsall as well. The Patriots have some money to spend. The Broncos have money to spend as well. So could one of these teams, even the Baltimore Ravens, could create some financial wiggle room to go out and get George Pickens?
Anyway, Diggs and picking him up.
I think he's going to have an insane, robust market. And the agents behind the scenes could just leverage George Pickens' contract with the Dallas Cowboys, who, like I said, can definitely restructure some money on the side and look to give George Pickens what he wants. But we saw the Cowboys have arguably the worst defense in the NFL last year. Would it be wise to basically become the Cincinnati Bengals of the NFC and just completely neglect the defensive side of the field to have 2 expensive wide receivers in George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb already on the roster? So I think it's going to be very intriguing to see how the George Pickens situation kind of falls out. Like I said, he's 24 years old. He's a legit wide receiver 1 talent right now, and I think teams would be backing up the Brinks truck to give George Pickens a max wide receiver contract, and I just wonder how he's going to feel most likely playing under the franchise tag. And maybe the most intriguing defensive free agent, Trey Hendrickson. I would say there's a 99.9% chance he's on a different team next year. At least for George Pickens, you could totally see the world where Pickens is playing for the Cowboys in week 1. I can't see Trey Hendrickson playing for the Cincinnati Bengals anymore. The bridge has just been burned. He played under a 1-year deal last year after restructuring his contract. He wanted over $100 million in guaranteed money. He essentially just got a 1-year deal. He was banged up in 2025 after winning the sack title in 2024, 17.5 sacks, finishing runner-up to Patrick Surtain in the 2024 Defensive Player of the Year voting. He was an All-Pro first-team member and didn't get that contract he wanted from the Bengals in the 2025 offseason. T. Higgins got paid. Jamar Chase got paid. Obviously, Joe Burrow is getting paid. But
Size is way more like harder to do than Patriots.
Trey Hendrickson did not get the money he wanted. He is 31 years old. Like I said, it was a
Especially
banged up
against explosive
2025
quarterbacks.
season. He could
Like that was
definitely
on
be a difference maker on the market for a bunch of teams out there looking for maybe a top tier edge rusher. It was only 2 seasons ago where he had 17 and a half sacks. He had 17 and a half sacks actually in back-to-back seasons in 2023 and in 2024. And you know he's most likely leaving his team right now. So if you can maybe sell to Trey Hendrickson that you're ready to compete, plus give him decent guaranteed
That's the
money,
best
I
defensive
could
player
see
they
him
got.
signing with that team. Could he sign with the Jets? I don't know if they're ready to compete. Could he sign with the Los Angeles Chargers? That would be fun. The Tennessee Titans have a bunch of money.
Maybe the Jets because they traded Quentin Williams.
Raiders have a bunch of money as well. Only the Chargers out of those
I don't
teams I
think the
just
Texans,
mentioned
though.
can realistically maybe win a playoff game next year. I know
Damn.
Justin Herbert winning a playoff
Yeah,
game
that's
will eventually get there. The Commanders desperately need a big-time playmaker on the defensive line. The Seattle
Commanders
Seahawks
need
have some
everything,
money
bro.
to spend. Trey Hendrickson in Seattle would be awesome, but
Yeah.
they got to pay Devon Witherspoon and Jackson Smith-Njigba this offseason. The Rams have some money to spend if they want to get somebody on the opposite side
it.
of Jared Verse. They can kind of match it up with the Verse extension and have Hendrickson kind of be that veteran for him going forward. I love the fit in San Francisco. You have a returning Nick Bosa. You're most likely not going to bring back Josh Huff. Michael Williams as well, and that defensive line will be there recovering from that injury, but you can add Trey Hendrickson. Maybe the Patriots don't bring back Clavon Chason, and they go after Trey Hendrickson as well in free
Carson
agency.
Wentz.
The Cardinals could try to pair up Trey Hendrickson with Josh Sweat on that defensive line, and who knows, maybe the Eagles can restructure some money. Maybe they make a trade or two, and they desperately need
I
another
was
edge
thinking
rusher.
about the Eagles, but I just don't know because we have so many like stacked up D linemen. We got Brandon Graham too as deep as the end. Phillips. Well, I mean, we do have free agents.
Sure,
So.
they felt the loss of Josh Sweat. Even though their defense was really good last year, they could definitely look for somebody like Trey
we got, like,
Hendrickson.
a
You know,
whole bunch of
Howie
other, like,
Roseman's always
veterans.
looking to make that big-time splash in the offseason.
I thought
I
we
am
were gonna get more
fascinated to
offensive
see where
players,
Trey
though,
Hendrickson is
than
going to
defense.
end up because, like I said,
I'll probably
there's a
just restart my whole
99.9% chance he is not going back to the Cincinnati Bengals, and he could be a big swing on some teams' overall defense next year. I also think
That's
the quarterback market is going to be super interesting because usually quarterback free agency isn't great. Last year, there were definitely some solid names in free
I know
agency.
A-Rod,
You
they
had
said
Russell
A-Rod.
Wilson, you had Aaron Rodgers, you had Sam Darnold, who obviously just won a Super Bowl with the
he
Seattle
was a free
Seahawks,
agent
and you
last
do
year?
have some competent quarterbacks on the free agency market this offseason. I would say that there's 3. No disrespect to Russell Wilson, but I don't think teams are lining up to sign Russ in free agency. And to be honest with you, I don't know if there's more than maybe 2 teams out there lining up to sign Aaron Rodgers in free agency. If he's going to come
No,
back
Aaron
next
Rodgers is
season,
good.
I hate to say it as a Steelers fan, but he's probably going to come back to Pittsburgh on another
Yeah.
one-year deal to
about
reunite
Aaron
with
Rodgers?
Mike McCarthy. Do I want to see that as a Steelers fan? No. I'd rather Aaron Rodgers just retire. He just
Damn.
captures ceiling next year, and he also
Damn.
raises your floor. The Steelers do
What
not
did
need to
Rodgers
operate
do?
like that anymore. Mike Tomlin is gone. They need to take
Oh, yeah,
a
like
home run
300 yards
swing.
in the game,
So I
bro.
don't think it makes any sense for you to go after Aaron Rodgers in free agency to maybe win 8 or 9 games next year and pick 16th overall. Could the Minnesota Vikings get involved in Aaron Rodgers? There was apparently a rumor last year that Kwesi, who got fired as the
They
main
need a
decision maker
quarterback,
in
though.
Minnesota, did
The-
not
the
want Aaron
Vikings need
Rodgers.
a
Now, that could be a
quarterback.
fine decision in hindsight.
Bad.
Aaron Rodgers
They
wasn't
got
Sam
Carson
Darnold
Wentz,
last year,
McCaffrey-
but could you bring in
McCaffrey too?
Aaron Rodgers to
he
compete
had, like,
but beat
50
out
yards
J.J.
one
McCarthy
game?
for the starting quarterback job? He can be maybe a good mentor for J.J. McCarthy. McCarthy can learn behind Aaron Rodgers next year.
McCarthy only
And
did
maybe
good
Aaron
against the
Rodgers with
Commanders,
Kevin
bro.
O'Connell can win the
than
division
that,
in the
dog,
NFC North. That intrigues me a
it wasn't
little
even
bit
hard.
more than Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh. I know Arthur Smith is no longer
Yo,
here.
breakthrough
and
game
it's
is
Mike McCarthy
on
calling
the
the plays.
Commanders, bro.
But Aaron Rodgers could throw the ball to Justin Jefferson, T.J.
He's got
Hawkinson,
to do
Jordan
something.
Addison. Maybe they drafted Jeremiah Love behind him. The offensive line needs to get better in the
Jeremiah
offseason as
Love
well because you can make an argument
is
the
not going
Steelers
to
have a
the
better
Bucs.
offensive line than the Minnesota
Might
Vikings.
go to the
But I
Seahawks.
obviously trust Kevin O'Connell as an
Maybe it's
offensive-minded
like
head
the Bengals.
coach. They may use Rodgers as a bridge gap quarterback to just kind of continue the development of J.J. McCarthy behind the scenes.
It's
That's
me,
really
RPO.
it, though. I don't see Aaron Rodgers going anywhere else. There are definitely
That's
2
RPO.
other more intriguing free agent quarterbacks on the market. Daniel
Daniel
Jones is
Jones,
one of
though?
them. Daniel Jones had kind of a career
Free
revival
injured.
last year, and I think another reason why Kwesi got fired in Minnesota, he had Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones in that locker room late in the 2024 season. And Daniel Jones ends up with the Indianapolis Colts. He looks great throughout his
Roper?
first 8 or so games. They go 7-1 at the start of the 2025 season. Comes back
Yeah,
down to
yeah.
earth a little bit. He was 8-5 through 13 games, but then tore his Achilles. So how is Daniel Jones going to look next year? What is Daniel Jones's contract going to be in the 2026 season? Is he going to get maybe what we saw from Sam Darnold last offseason? I think that's a realistic possibility, around $30 million a year.
Damn.
Maybe you get about $60 million guaranteed. And similar
Damn.
to that Baker Mayfield contract with the Buccaneers, Buccaneers a couple
million.
years ago, but could they tag Daniel Jones? Now, it's very expensive to tag a quarterback in the NFL. As if you want to tag a quarterback, it's $47 million, and the transition tag is $40 million at the moment. Now, there could be some really interesting Daniel Jones teams next year if they really wanted to use their cap space on a quarterback. I just think the uncertainty and the price tag of Daniel Jones really just brings him back to one suitor in the Indianapolis Colts, but you never know. Because probably the most sought-after, high upside quarterback out there will be Malik Willis. Malik Willis had a small sample size with the Green Bay Packers as a starter last year, only playing when Jordan Love was injured, but he definitely showed some high upside as a dual threat quarterback in this league. Malik Willis last year. In the one game that he came in for the injured Jordan Love against the Bears, he went 9 for 11, 121 yards and a touchdown. And then in week 17 in their loss against the Baltimore Ravens, it wasn't totally because of him. 18 for 21, 288 yards and a touchdown. In 2024, when Malik Willis played about 2 games as a full-time starter, he ended up beating the Indianapolis Colts 16-10 after Jordan Love got hurt in week number 1 against the Eagles. He went 12 of 14 for 122 yards and a touchdown. And then the following week, he beat the Tennessee Titans. He went 13-19 for 202 yards and a touchdown. Malik Willis is 26 years old. I don't think you have to break the bank for Malik Willis. He's definitely not going back to the Green Bay Packers if a team thinks they can have him as their starting quarterback, or at least fight for the job next year. Maybe kind of similar to Daniel Jones last year with the Indianapolis Colts getting brought in to compete with Anthony Richardson. So could a team like the Miami Dolphins look at Malik Willis? John Eric Sullivan is now the main decision maker in Miami, coming over from Green Bay. Jeff Hafley as well, the former Packers defensive coordinator to the Miami Dolphins head coach. Could a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, the New York Jets that don't have maybe their franchise quarterback on their roster, or the Cleveland Browns look at Malik Willis? Could Kevin Stefanski really fall in love with Malik Willis's tape this offseason and look to bring him in to Atlanta to compete with a healthy Michael Penix going forward? So I do think there's going to be a robust market. Heck, maybe even the Minnesota Vikings go after Malik Willis as well to compete with JJ McCarthy. He definitely provides you probably the highest upside this offseason, but also maybe the highest risk. And I wonder if there's going to be a bidding war. I would say his agent's going to look at the Justin Fields contract from last offseason, around 2 years, $40 million. And there's going to be some good running backs on the free agency market as well. Last year was a little bit underwhelming in the running back free agency market, but I would say most of them kind of outperformed what they got signed for. I'm looking at Javonte Williams, Rico Dowdle, and Kenneth Gainwell. Now, the Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker, is a free agent. There was a very weird, awkward moment of John Schneider, the GM of the Seattle Seahawks, saying that Kenneth Walker tried negotiating an extension at the parade. Nobody laughed. It was really weird.
To Ken Walker being the MVP, let's go! Woo!
Oh, look at bro's face. Yeah, bro.
He tried negotiating with me 5 minutes ago. It was really weird.
Yo, he did not say that.
Anyway, hey, MVP! MVP! MVP!
They got a Bud Light chain.
I'm going to assume no matter what, Walker's going to be back in Seattle next year. Maybe he plays on a tag, who knows, but he just won Super Bowl MVP. I think you can justify a nice 2 to 3 year contract where all these major cap hits do not overlap each other. Like Sam Darnold's eventually going to get an extension in Seattle. He's going to make a lot of money, but that new extension will not overlap with the new Kenneth Walker contract. So if you give him a nice 3-year deal worth $10 million a year, maybe it's $20 million guaranteed, something like that, where you're still making him one of the highest paid running backs in the NFL, I think that can be worth it for Kenneth Walker to stay. You still have Zach Charbonnet, a fine backup next year. I mean, you're looking at Saquon making $20 million a year, McCaffrey making $19 million a year, Derrick Henry making $15 million a year. I think you could justify giving him around maybe $14 million a year if he asks for a little bit more, similar to what Jonathan Taylor just got from the Indianapolis Colts. Because then you watch Kenneth Walker last year, he's so much better than Zach Charbonnet. He could really be a true bell cow if he could stay healthy. I mean, and then there's some other good running backs on the market. Breece Hall, who was also a day 2 pick in the 2022 draft, like Kenneth Walker. Breece Hall could probably get a similar amount to Kenneth Walker as well. You can make an argument Breece Hall's a better running back. He did suffer a major lower body injury in his career in his rookie season, where he was off to a phenomenal start with the 2022 Jets. And what felt like maybe the least expectation season for Breece Hall last year, he came through. He had 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns, and maybe the worst worst offense in the NFL going forward. I think there could be a bunch of teams out there looking for somebody like Breece Hall. Tennessee would be really cool. I think that'd be a huge upgrade in the backfield, 100%. The Commanders definitely need a running back this offseason. Go after somebody like Breece Hall as well. Maybe a team, the Denver Broncos, the Arizona Cardinals, maybe even the Tampa Bay Buccaneers look at somebody like Breece Hall. And then another running back would also be Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne was a first-round pick back in the 2021 NFL draft. He ended up getting his fifth-year option picked up from the Jaguars this year. He only has 4 years under his belt because he did miss his whole rookie season with an ACL tear back in 2021. But Etienne, kind of like Breece Hall, didn't have super high expectations this year. Still ran for 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns for a Jacksonville Jaguars team that ended up winning 13 games this year. They're very high on Bashal Tutin going forward, so maybe they don't want to break the bank for Travis Etienne in free agency. And all those teams I just listed for Breece Hall could definitely be in the market for Travis Etienne going forward. I would also love to see him in Houston, Kansas City, if they can maybe create some financial wiggle room this offseason as well. Maybe Dallas, if they could pull it off with their improved offensive line. And there are also some other solid running backs in free agency as well that you can maybe look to pick up on a 1 or 2 year deal. Rico Dowdle, who had multiple, almost 200-yard rushing games last year with the Carolina Panthers. I'm excited to see Tyler Algier. He could leave in free agency as well. I'm excited to see him maybe with a running back 1 workload. Javonte Williams is a free agent. He had a nice year with Dallas last year. Najee Harris, J.K. Dobbins, Rashad White, Kenneth Gainwell, the Steelers MVP last year, also a free agent. And then kind of going back to that wide receiver market as well, there are a bunch of free agents that might get more than we actually expect. Alec Pierce is projected to get $24 million right now, and there would be so many interesting teams for Alec Pierce in free agency. I don't know if the Bills could pull it off, but man, Alec Pierce as a deep ball threat for Josh Allen would be so much fun to watch. Could the Denver Broncos try to get Alec Pierce in free agency as well? Could the Jets look to pair up Alec Pierce next to Garrett Wilson moving forward? Could the Washington Commanders look to get Alec Pierce? I would also like to see maybe the San Francisco 49ers, the New England Patriots, maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers use their cap space on Alec Pierce. You never know. I think he's going to have a very robust market. And then you have some other veteran free agents out there as well. Mike Evans is a free agent. Do I really think that he's going to leave Tampa Bay? No, I can't really believe it until I see it. That would be kind of crazy. Deebo Samuel is going to be a free agent. I would say he was a positive player last year for the Washington Commanders. With all these guys potentially leaving the San Francisco 49ers, wouldn't be totally surprised if there was a reunion in Santa Clara. Juwan Jennings, a former 49ers receiver, it seems like he does not want to go back to San Francisco. He's projected to get around $16 million on the open market. I think Juwan Jennings could definitely get paid, and I would be interested to see a healthy Juwan Jennings with a higher workload. He's 28 years old. I think he can give you 2 to 3 more good years. And if a team misses out on maybe a George Pickens or an Alec Pierce, they can pivot to Juwan Jennings. Maybe it's a Tennessee Titans. Maybe it's the Las Vegas Raiders as well. You got Rashid Shaheed on the market. You have Romeo Doubs on the market. Wan'Dale Robinson is projected to get $21 million. The team is looking for a slot wide receiver upgrade as well. And the tight end market's also going to be kind of fascinating because Kyle Pitts is a free agent.
Kyle Pitts supposed to come to the Eagles.
I would definitely be lining up to sign Kyle Pitts, but he could definitely just go back to the Atlanta Falcons. The tight end free agency tag, $16 million. I would honestly pay that if I'm the Atlanta Falcons, but they definitely have some other holes on the roster. You have Dallas Goedert, who could definitely leave the Eagles. It's the only team he's played for.
But if he doesn't come back to the Eagles, it'll probably be a switch for Kyle Pitts. I mean, maybe we'll get somebody like Brock Bowers. Who's some good tight ends in the world? Maybe the Warren dude. Yeah, all right. Tyler Warren. Sure, I don't know.
Travis Kelce is technically a free agent.
Travis Kelce comes to the Eagles?
It's either retirement or back to Kansas City for maybe a last dance. You have Isaiah Likely. How is he going to be as a full tight end 1, not being in Mark Andrews' shadow anymore? David Njoku is a free agent.
Yeah, the Njoku dude. He could probably come to the Eagles.
He already signaled that he's not going back to Cleveland. They're all the way in on Harold Fannin. And I only talked about pretty much one defensive player so far, and that was Trey Hendrickson. The linebacking free agency market could be pretty strong as well. Devin Lloyd as an off-ball linebacker led all.
Nah, he got some good. Nah, he's slow though. I ain't gonna lie.
NFL players last year in interceptions at the linebacker position. He picked the best year of his career to have a career year right before he's about to get paid in free agency. He was an All-Pro second-team member last year. He was a Pro Bowler. He had 81 tackles in 15 games. He had that electric pick 6 against the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday night when the Jaguars beat the Chiefs. I think there could be a lot of suitors for Devin Lloyd. I would love to see him stay in the state of Florida. Maybe go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They could definitely use an off-ball linebacker, and I think can probably pay Devin Lloyd, $16 million a year expected contract, especially if they don't think they're going to land Sonny Styles in the draft, because there's definitely a chance Sonny Styles is off the board before the Buccaneers are picking. Maybe they would have to trade up for Sonny Styles. Like and it's a good market if you need an off-ball linebacker. It's not just Devin Lloyd out there. Devin Bush has kind of revived his career a little bit over the last few years with the Cleveland Browns. He's projected to get $12 million in free agency as well. You have Nakobe Dean from the Philadelphia Eagles, a team that doesn't have a lot of cap to work with right now, so he could be on a new team next year. 2025 breakout Leo Chanel is a free agent. He could definitely be on the move this offseason as well. And then you have some veterans like Bobby Wagner of the Washington.
Nobody gonna pick. Hey, shout out Bobby Wagner though, but yeah, no. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if he gets some more speed, he got the hit power. In the tackling, I give him that. But his speed, like, I don't think he should be in coverage, bro. You feel me? I think if he goes to a team, like say he goes to the Eagles, he needs to only be in the box, bro. That's it. There's no cover two. You guarding receivers. Yeah, nah, that's over. Yeah, no, that's over.
That's Demario Davis, who had a nice start to the 2020.
Demario Davis could come to a team like the Eagles too.
25 season with the New Orleans Saints and Alex Anzalone.
And yo, this one of my favorite linebackers, bro. He comes to the Eagles too.
A good secondary market. Jamel Dean is a free agent. I'd rather pay Jamel Dean than maybe what the Patriots paid Carlton Davis, another former Buccaneers corner last offseason. Jamel Dean, when healthy, has been really good. He's going to get a lot of money. He's probably going to get the most, I would say, on a per-year basis dollar amount this offseason, maybe on like a 3-year deal.
I mean, they got him against Drake.
Have some good secondary members hitting free agency in Brian Cook and Jalen Watson. Chiefs have some good secondary members hitting free agency in Brian Cook and Jalen Watson. Cameron Curl for the Los Angeles Rams was a standout player in the secondary. He could make a decent amount of money in free agency as well. And then you have Reek Woolen of the Super Bowl winning Seattle Seahawks potential.
Yo, Reek, how you doing? You all right? Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I don't know when Jaire Alexander is coming back, bro. But we need at least 1 or 2 more DBs, bro, my boy Quinion. I mean, we got Coop, we got Blankenship. So I say we really just need 1 more DB. No. Never mind. No. 2. Yeah, I think 2 good. Then we'll have Alexander when he come back. So, yeah. We can do 2. But Reek would, hey. He joined because I fight. In my opinion, the Eagles got a top 3 defense, no doubt. So if Reek comes to the Eagles, yo. There's no defense stopping.
But getting a payday, and then there's a little bit of a drop off maybe in terms of secondary talent after that. There's some playmaking edge rushers as well. You have Odafe Owe, who was traded from the Baltimore Ravens to the Los Angeles Chargers, is on the market. Jalen Phillips, who was traded from the Miami Dolphins to the Philadelphia Eagles. You have Boye Mafe, also of the Super Bowl winning Seattle Seahawks in free agency. Joey Bosa, who was banged up yet again last year, but he's on a 1-year deal. He's hitting the free agency market again. Same with Khalil Mack, a current Charger. Jadeveon Clowney, Draymond Jones, Cameron Jordan, and Clavon Chason could definitely be difference makers on the market. And it's maybe not the best offensive line class, though, but there's definitely one really good free agent, Tyler Linderbaum of the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not sure if the Giants can maybe poach Linderbaum from the Baltimore Ravens and he can go play for his former coach in John Harbaugh, or is he going to play for Jesse Minter, their new head coach? There's a chance Tyler Linderbaum can get $20 million a year, and I would say Packers fans, maybe shield your eyes because Linderbaum is probably going to make roughly what Aaron Banks got in free agency last year, and you must have been like, damn, I'd rather just pay Tyler Linderbaum that dollar amount going forward. I don't care that he's a center, but I would say every team that has cap space, the Tennessee Titans to protect Cam Ward, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Chargers, the Jets, the Commanders, the Bengals, the Rams, the 49ers, the Patriots could all definitely go after Tyler Linderbaum in free agency. I would assume he's going to be back with the Baltimore Ravens. You never know, though. He is projected to get about $20 million a year. So that is going to be for me. I hope you guys did enjoy. I think free agency is going to get...
Shout out this dude, man. We want to see what happens. I mean, I think they said that the combine was soon, too. But shit, we'll have to see what happens, man. See who comes to the Eagles, see who lead the Eagles for me. But I love y'all. More videos today. Peace out.